What would you do if the man you've been hiding in your storage unit, feeding with stolen food, and nursing back to health like a broken bird for 3 months suddenly stood up and walked? What if the man you thought was dying, the man whose wounds you've been cleaning with gas station napkins, whose fever you've been breaking with cold bottles pressed to his skin, whose nightmares you've been soothing in the dark, was never as helpless as he seemed? The digital clock on the storage facility wall read 2:47 a.m. when Zara's eyes flew open. She'd heard something. A footstep. The soft scrape of shoe against concrete. Her storage unit, Unit 237, the one she'd been living in for 4 months since Marcus took everything, was supposed to be empty except for her and him. The wounded man she'd found bleeding in the alley behind the Korean grocery store. The man who'd been unconscious for 2 days, then too weak to move for weeks after. The man who hadn't walked since the night she dragged him here. Zara sat up on her sleeping bag, her heart hammering. The footsteps were coming from his corner. The corner where she'd made him a bed of donated blankets and stolen pillows. The corner where he should be sleeping. Or dying. She'd been waiting for him to die for 3 months now. "You're awake." His voice came from the darkness. Deep. Steady. Not weak. Not pained. Standing. Zara's breath caught. She fumbled for her phone, turned on the flashlight with shaking hands. And there he was. Jae-sung. The name he'd whispered to her in his delirium. Standing in the middle of her storage unit. Standing straight. Standing tall, broad-shouldered, imposing, wearing the black clothes she'd stolen from the donation bin, his dark hair falling into eyes that had never truly been clouded with pain. He looked at her. Really looked at her. And in that gaze, she saw something that made her blood run cold. Calculation. "How long have you been able to walk?" Her voice came out as a whisper. He tilted his head, studying her like she was a problem to solve. 2 months. 2 months. She'd spent 2 months bringing him food she couldn't afford. 2 months sneaking him into the storage facility bathroom at 3 a.m. to help him bathe. 2 months sleeping 3 feet away from him, worried every time his breathing changed that he might die on her watch. 2 months of lying. Why? The word broke on her tongue. Jae-sung stepped closer. In the dim phone light, she could see the scars on his face, the ones that were real. The stab wound on his ribs that she'd stitched with dental floss and prayer. But she could also see the strength in his movements. The predatory grace of a man who'd been pretending to be prey. "Because I needed to disappear," he said simply. "And you gave me the perfect place to hide." From who? But even as she asked, Zara was reaching for the box cutter she kept under her makeshift pillow. 3 months in a storage unit had taught her that safety was an illusion. That trust was a luxury she couldn't afford. "From my brother. From my family. From a war I didn't want to fight anymore." His eyes tracked her movement to the box cutter. The corner of his mouth lifted. "You won't need that. You lied to me." Her hand closed around the blade. "For months. Yes. I starved myself to feed you. I know. I could have been caught. Arrested. I could have died protecting you. I know that too." He moved closer still, and Zara's back hit the cold metal wall of the unit. "And you did it anyway. Do you know how rare that is? How valuable?" Valuable. The word felt like a slap. "I'm not valuable," she whispered. "I'm homeless. I'm nobody. You're Zara Mitchell." His hand came up, stopping inches from her face. 28 years old. From Atlanta originally. "You've been living in this storage unit for 4 months because your ex-fiancé, Marcus Wellington, emptied your bank account and disappeared 3 years ago. You came to Seoul to start over. To teach English at a private academy. But the job fell through and you had nowhere to go." Her heart stopped. "How do you? You talk in your sleep." His voice softened. "You say his name. Marcus. You say, please don't leave. You say, I'm pregnant." Tears burned her eyes. She wanted to push him away. Wanted to scream. Wanted to hurt him the way she'd been hurt by every man who'd ever made her believe she mattered. But his hand finally touched her face. Gentle. Reverent. "I'm sorry I deceived you," Jae-sung said quietly. "But I'm not sorry I stayed. Because in 3 months of watching you survive impossible things with grace, I learned something important. What? She hated how her voice shook. That I don't want to disappear anymore. His thumb traced her cheekbone, catching a tear. And that the war I was running from has found me anyway. My brother knows I'm alive. He knows I'm here. And he checked a phone she'd never seen him carry. 6 hours, he's going to send men to this facility to kill me. Zara's breath stopped. What? Which means you're in danger. Which means you need to come with me. His eyes held hers. I have an apartment in Gangnam. Security. Resources. Everything you need to be safe. I don't even know you. But she did. She knew he had nightmares about blood and broken glass. She knew he was fluent in 3 languages, Korean, English, and Japanese. She knew he was allergic to shellfish and that his favorite food was the cheap ramen she brought him from the convenience store. She knew that when she'd had the flu last month, he'd somehow left the unit without her knowing and come back with medicine. She knew he'd been protecting her even while she thought she was protecting him. My name is Kong Jae-sung, he said. I'm the second son of the Kong family. We control 70% of the underground economy in Seoul: shipping, real estate, entertainment, protection. My older brother, Ji-hoon, tried to kill me 6 months ago because my father left me control of the organization instead of him. The words should have terrified her. Instead, all Zara could think was, he trusted me with the truth. I need you to make a choice, Jae-sung continued. Right now. Come with me and I'll keep you safe. I'll give you everything you need: a home, security, a job if you want one, freedom if you don't. Or, his hand dropped from her face. Stay here. I'll leave money. Enough to get you an apartment, get you home to the States if that's what you want. But you'll never see me again. Zara stared at him. At this man who'd let her believe she was saving him when really, maybe, they'd been saving each other. Why me? She whispered. You could have anyone. Why would you want? Because when you thought I was dying, he said, you gave me your blanket and slept in the cold. Because you brought me food and ate nothing yourself. Because you sang to me when I had nightmares even though you were exhausted. Because you're the strongest person I've ever met, Zara. And I don't deserve you. But I'm selfish enough to want you anyway. The storage facility alarm would go off in 3 hours when the manager arrived. They had to move. Before we go deeper into what happened next, Jae-sung said, his eyes never leaving hers, you need to know one thing. What? Everything you thought you knew about me was a lie. But everything I felt for you? That was the only true thing I had left. Zara took his hand. And somewhere across Seoul, in a penthouse office overlooking the Han River, Kong Ji-hoon smiled as he watched the security footage from Storage Facility 237. His baby brother was alive. And he'd just found his weakness. But to understand how Zara went from a woman with everything to a woman with nothing, to understand why she was living in a storage unit half a world away from home, to understand why she would trust a dangerous man she barely knew over the safe choice of walking away, we need to go back. Back to Atlanta. Back to 3 years ago. Back to the day Marcus Wellington taught her that love was just another word for theft. 3 years ago, Zara Mitchell had a life that looked like it was supposed to. She had an apartment in Midtown Atlanta, nothing fancy, a 1-bedroom with water stains on the ceiling and neighbors who played music too loud, but it was hers. Or at least, the lease had her name on it. She paid the rent. All of it. Every month. On time. She had 2 jobs. During the day, she was an administrative assistant at a marketing firm downtown, answering phones and managing schedules for people who made 3 times her salary. At night, she bartended at an upscale restaurant in Buckhead, smiling through the exhaustion, pocketing tips that would become next month's electricity bill. And she had Marcus. Marcus Wellington, with his Morehouse degree he never shut up about and his entrepreneur business cards that never led to actual business. Marcus, who was between opportunities but had plenty of time to go to the gym, meet his boys for drinks, and buy himself new Jordans every other week. Marcus, who she loved with the kind of desperate, foolish love that made her ignore the math that didn't add up. Baby, I just need a few more months, he'd said, lying on her couch in her apartment, wearing the Apple Watch she'd bought him for his birthday. Once my app takes off, I'm gonna take care of you. Buy you a house. Marry you properly. Give you everything. And Zara, exhausted from working 14-hour days, lonely in the way that only people in one-sided relationships understand, believed him. She paid his car note when he said he was cash poor. She covered his half of the rent when his investment fell through. She bought groceries and cooked dinners and pretended not to notice that he never, not once, offered to pay her back. That's what partners do, her mother had warned her on the phone. But baby, make sure you're both partners. Make sure you're not just his bank. But Zara had smiled and said everything was fine. Because if she admitted it wasn't, if she admitted that she was drowning financially and emotionally, then she'd have to admit she'd wasted 3 years on a man who saw her as a resource, not a person. She'd have to admit she was lonely even when he was lying next to her. She'd have to admit that sometimes, late at night, she fantasized about what her life might look like if she had the courage to leave. Then she got pregnant. Zara found out on a Tuesday morning. 2 pink lines on a pregnancy test from CVS, her hands shaking so badly she could barely hold it. Terror. That was the first feeling. She was barely making ends meet as it was. A baby would be impossible. But then hope. Foolish, desperate hope. Maybe this would change things. Maybe this would make Marcus step up. Maybe they'd finally become the family she'd been pretending they already were. She told him that night. Made his favorite meal, jerk chicken and rice and peas, the recipe her grandmother had taught her. Set the table with candles. Wore the dress he always said he liked. I'm pregnant, she said, smiling even though her voice shook. We're having a baby. Marcus's face went blank. Completely, utterly blank. Then he stood up from the table, grabbed his keys, and walked out. He didn't come back that night. Or the next. On day 3, Zara came home from work, exhausted, nauseous, terrified, to find the apartment half empty. His clothes, gone. His PlayStation, gone. His sneaker collection, gone. The TV she'd bought, gone. She stood in the middle of her ransacked living room, trying to understand. Pulled out her phone to check their joint bank account, the one she'd opened because he said it would make things easier to manage their money together. Balance, $4.17. She deposited her paycheck 2 days ago. $1,847. It was gone. All of it. Her money. Her account that she'd stupidly added his name to. Her hands were still shaking when she called him. It went straight to voicemail. She called again. And again. And again. On the 7th call, he answered. Stop calling me. Marcus, where are you? What happened to the money? My money, he corrected. I'm starting over, Zara. Clean slate. No baggage. Baggage. He meant her. He meant their baby. You can't just, her voice cracked. We're having a child. You can't just leave. Watch me. His voice was so cold. So casual. Like he was turning down a dinner invitation, not abandoning his family. Do me a favor? Lose my number. And handle that situation before it becomes my problem. He hung up. Zara stood there 4 months pregnant, $4.17 to her name, rent due in 5 days, and understood with perfect, crystalline clarity that she'd been played. She'd been an ATM with a pulse. A placeholder. A woman too tired and too lonely to see that the man she loved had never loved her back. The eviction notice came 6 weeks later. Zara had tried. God, she'd tried. Picked up extra bartending shifts, sold everything that wasn't nailed down, begged her landlord for more time. But 6 months of back rent, 6 months of Marcus living off her while contributing nothing, was too much to overcome on a bartender's salary. She moved into her car. A 2009 Honda Civic with a broken air conditioner and seats that didn't recline all the way. She showered at the gym. Kept her work clothes in the trunk. Told no one. At 7 months pregnant, she looked at her bank account. $127. She'd been saving for prenatal vitamins and doctor visits. But the car needed gas. She needed to eat something. Anything. The baby kicked. Little flutters that should have filled her with joy. Instead, Zara felt terror. Because she knew with the certainty of someone who'd already lost everything, that she couldn't do this. Couldn't bring a child into a life of sleeping in cars and skipping meals and pretending everything was fine. She cried until there were no tears left. Then she made the appointment at the clinic. But her body made the choice for her. At 8 months pregnant, working a double shift because she needed the money, Zara felt the first cramp. She ignored it. She needed this shift. Needed these tips. The second cramp doubled her over. By the time she made it to the emergency room, the charity ward, where they made her wait 3 hours because she had no insurance, it was too late. She delivered her daughter at 2:34 a.m. Alone. In a hospital room that smelled like disinfectant and resignation. The baby was tiny. Too tiny. Not breathing. "I'm sorry," the nurse said, and the pity in her voice made Zara want to die. She didn't make it. Zara named her anyway. Amara. It meant grace in Igbo. Her grandmother's name. They asked if she wanted to hold her. She said yes. Held her daughter for 20 minutes and memorized her perfect, tiny face. Her fingers. Her closed eyes. Then they took her away. And Zara was alone again. 2 years of crawling out of that darkness. 2 years of therapy she couldn't afford, jobs that barely paid, apartments she shared with strangers who didn't ask questions. 2 years of saving every penny. And then, the email. "We'd like to offer you a position teaching English at Seoul International Academy. Salary, $35,000 per year USD plus housing stipend. Seoul, South Korea. As far from Atlanta and Marcus and the ghost of her daughter as she could possibly get." Zara accepted within an hour. She landed at Incheon Airport on a Tuesday with 2 suitcases and $3,000 in her bank account, everything she'd saved. The academy put her up in a hostel while they finalized her housing arrangements. 3 weeks later, they sent an email. "We regret to inform you that due to unforeseen budget constraints, we must rescind our offer." Just like that. No job. No housing stipend. No plan B. Zara spent 2 months trying. Applied to every English academy in Seoul. But without a work visa and with her tourist visa expiring, no one would hire her. She ran through her savings. Then her credit card. Then her last shred of dignity, asking her mother for money she knew her mother didn't have. "Come home, baby," her mother said. But Zara couldn't. Couldn't go back to Atlanta. Couldn't face the city where she'd lost everything. Couldn't admit she'd failed again. So instead, she found Unit 237 at U-Store Seoul. $200 a month, paid in cash, no questions asked. She moved in with her suitcases and her shame and the bone-deep exhaustion of someone who'd been surviving for so long she'd forgotten what living felt like. At night, she lay on her sleeping bag and stared at the corrugated metal ceiling and wondered how her life had come to this. That was 3 months ago. Then, on a Friday night in late September, Zara found him. She'd been walking back to the storage facility after her shift at the convenience store, under the table, $7 an hour, no benefits, when she heard it. A sound. Low and pained. Coming from the alley behind Han's Korean grocery. She should have kept walking. Should have minded her business. Should have remembered that curiosity and kindness were luxuries she couldn't afford. But Zara had never been good at walking away from people in pain. She found him collapsed behind the dumpster. A man. Korean. Maybe early 30s. Expensive clothes soaked in blood. Stab wound in his ribs. Another across his shoulder. Face swollen and bruised. He was unconscious. Barely breathing. Zara pulled out her phone to call emergency services, then stopped. If she called an ambulance, they'd ask questions. Questions she couldn't answer about why she was out this late, where she lived, if she had insurance to pay for the ride. Questions that might reveal she was living illegally in a storage unit on an expired visa. But if she left him here, he'd die. She thought of Amara. Of holding her daughter's cold body and knowing she'd failed to protect her. Of the helplessness. The guilt. She couldn't. Not again. So Zara did something monumentally stupid. She dragged him to her storage unit. He was heavy, all muscle despite his lean frame, and the 2 blocks felt like 2 miles. She was crying by the time she got him inside, her muscles screaming, her conscience screaming louder. She laid him on her sleeping bag, used her last clean towel to apply pressure to the worst wound. Watched him not die for an hour, then 2, then 3. At dawn, his eyes fluttered open. Dark. Disoriented. "It's okay," she whispered in English, then tried her broken Korean. "Gwenchina. You're safe." He looked at her, really looked at her, and something in his expression shifted. Softened. "Jae-sung," he whispered. "My name is Kong Jae-sung." Then he passed out again. That was how it started. 3 months of nursing a stranger back to health while barely keeping herself alive. 3 months of sneaking him food, cleaning his wounds with supplies she stole from the convenience store, talking to him in the dark about nothing and everything. 3 months of watching him heal. Watching him smile. Watching him look at her like she was something precious instead of something disposable. 3 months of feeling less alone than she'd felt in years. And now, standing in front of him as he revealed that everything was a lie, Zara understood something important. She'd saved him. But maybe, in some twisted way, he'd saved her too. Because for the first time since Amara died, since Marcus left, since her life fell apart, Zara wanted to live again. Even if it meant walking into danger with a man she barely knew. Even if it meant trusting someone who'd already proven he could lie to her face for months. Even if it meant risking the fragile, broken pieces of her heart she'd worked so hard to protect. "Time to go," Jae-sung said, extending his hand. And Zara, exhausted, terrified, strangely hopeful, took it. Jae-sung's apartment wasn't an apartment. It was a fortress disguised as luxury. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Han River. Marble floors that reflected the city lights like a mirror. Furniture that looked like it belonged in a museum. And security cameras, reinforced doors, a panic room hidden behind a bookshelf that Jae-sung showed her, just in case. "Just in case of what?" Zara asked. "In case my brother finds us before I'm ready." The closet in the guest room, her room, he'd said, though the way he looked at her suggested he hoped it wouldn't stay that way, was bigger than her storage unit. Bigger than her old apartment in Atlanta. She stood in the doorway, staring at the empty space, and felt the weight of 3 years crash over her. "I can take you shopping tomorrow," Jae-sung said from behind her. "Get you whatever you need." "I don't need charity." The words came out sharper than she intended. "It's not charity." His voice was patient. "You saved my life, Zara. Let me give you a place to land while you figure out your next move." Next move. Like she had options. Like she wasn't a woman with an expired visa, no job prospects, and a bank account with $47 to her name. But his eyes held no pity. Only something that looked almost like respect. "Okay," she whispered. "Tomorrow." That night, Zara couldn't sleep. She lay in a bed, an actual bed with a memory foam mattress and Egyptian cotton sheets, and stared at the ceiling. Too soft. Too quiet. Too safe. She'd forgotten what safety felt like. At 3 a.m., she gave up and padded to the kitchen for water. Found Jae-sung already there, standing at the window in gray sweatpants and a black t-shirt, a glass of whiskey in his hand. "Can't sleep either," he asked without turning around. "The bed is too comfortable." She meant it as a joke. It came out sad. He turned then, his dark eyes finding hers in the dim light. "I know the feeling. After 6 months of running, of sleeping in safe houses and storage units and places where I had to keep one eye open, comfort feels like a trap." "Is that why you stayed?" Zara moved closer, drawn by the rawness in his voice. "In my storage unit? Because it felt safer than this." "Partly." He took a sip of whiskey. "And partly because you sang to me when I had nightmares. Do you remember?" She did. Those first few weeks when his fever was so high he'd thrash and cry out in Korean. She'd sit beside him and sing old gospel songs her grandmother taught her, lullabies she'd planned to sing to Amara. "I didn't think you'd remember," she said quietly. "I remember everything." His hand came up, fingers ghosting along her jawline. "Every kindness. Every sacrifice. Every moment you chose to help me when you had every reason to save yourself instead." The air between them felt electric. Dangerous. Jae-sung. "I know." He dropped his hand. "Too fast. Too soon. You barely know me. I know you have nightmares about someone named Jihoon." She stepped closer, closing the distance he'd created. "I know you speak 3 languages. I know you're allergic to shellfish. I know you like your ramen spicy with extra egg. I know when you think I'm sleeping, you watch me like you're trying to memorize my face. His breath caught. You noticed. I notice everything about you. Her hand found his chest, felt his heart racing beneath her palm. That's the problem. Zara. Her name on his tongue sounded like a prayer. If you're not ready. I'm terrified, she interrupted. Because every man I've ever trusted has destroyed me. Because I have nothing to offer you except trauma and broken pieces. Because you lied to me for months and I should hate you for that, but instead She stopped. Couldn't say it. Instead you what? His hands cupped her face, thumbs tracing her cheekbones. Instead, I feel safer with you than I've felt in 3 years. The confession escaped like a breath. And that terrifies me more than anything. Jae-sung leaned his forehead against hers. I'm going to tell you something, and I need you to believe me. Okay. You have more to offer than any woman I've ever met. Your strength. Your compassion. Your stubborn refusal to give up even when you should. You're not broken, Zara. You're a survivor. And I don't deserve you, but God, I want to try. She should pull away. Should protect herself. Should remember that wanting things had only ever led to loss. But Zara was so tired of being afraid. She kissed him. Soft at first. Tentative. Then deeper when his hands tangled in her hair, and he made a sound low in his throat that vibrated through her entire body. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Jae-sung rested his forehead against hers again. Not tonight, he whispered. When we do this, and we will, I want you to be sure. I want you to trust me. Really trust me. I'm sure now, she protested. You're lonely. There's a difference. His thumb traced her bottom lip. I can wait. I've waited 6 months already. I can wait until you're ready to choose me, not just accept what's offered. And somehow, that his willingness to wait, to give her choice, to see her as more than a body or a convenience, made her want him even more. The next morning, Jae-sung kept his promise. They went shopping. Not to the luxury boutiques in Gangnam that Zara glimpsed through the car window, places where a single dress probably cost more than she'd made in a year, but to a mid-range department store in Hongdae. I know you have money, Zara said as they browsed the racks. You don't have to pretend. I'm not pretending. He held up a simple black dress. I'm learning. What you like. What makes you comfortable. How you move through the world. She took the dress, their fingers brushing. Most men would just throw money at the problem. I'm not most men. His eyes held hers. And you're not a problem to solve. You're a person to know. Zara's throat tightened. When was the last time someone had tried to know her? Not use her, not take from her, but actually see her? She couldn't remember. They were loading bags into the car when Jae-sung's phone rang. He glanced at the screen. His expression went cold. Arctic cold. Get in the car, he said quietly. Now. What? Now, Zara. The command in his voice, the sudden shift from gentle to lethal, sent ice down her spine. She got in the car. Jae-sung answered the phone. Spoke rapid Korean. His knuckles went white around the device. Then he hung up. Got in the driver's seat. Started the engine. What's wrong? Zara asked. My brother knows where we are. He pulled into traffic, checking the rearview mirror every few seconds. He has men watching the apartment. They've been following us all morning. Her blood went cold. Following us? Why didn't you? Because I needed to confirm which crew it was before I made a move. His jaw clenched. I know these men. They won't attack in public. Too many witnesses. But the moment we get somewhere isolated, what do? We go back to the apartment. I have men there. Security. He glanced at her, his expression softening for just a moment. I won't let anything happen to you. Do you understand? Whatever happens, you stay behind me. Jae-sung. Promise me. He grabbed her hand, squeezed. Promise me you'll stay behind me. She wanted to argue. Wanted to say she could take care of herself. But the terror in his voice, the genuine fear that something might happen to her, made her throat close. I promise. They made it back to the apartment without incident. But the moment they walked through the door, 6 men in black suits materialized from the shadows. Jae-sung's security team. All armed. all watching the windows like they expected an invasion. Minjun, Jae-sung said to the tallest one. Status: 4 vehicles. 20 men minimum. Perimeter established but not breached yet. Minjun's eyes flicked to Zara. Should we move her to a safe house? No. Jae-sung's hand found the small of her back. She stays with me. Sir, with respect. I said she stays with me. The edge in his voice could cut glass. Reinforce the entry points. I want eyes on every camera. And if Ji-hoon calls, patch him through immediately. The men dispersed. Zara stood in the middle of the luxury apartment, this place that had felt like a sanctuary 12 hours ago, and tried to process that she was trapped. You should have let me go to the safe house, she said quietly. No. This is your war. You're not just anything. Jae-sung turned her to face him. The moment my brother saw you with me, you became part of this. He'll use you to get to me. The only way to keep you safe is to keep you close. Why? The question burst out of her. Why do you care so much? I'm nobody. I'm just some homeless woman you used for cover. Stop. His hands cupped her face, firm but gentle. You are not nobody. You are not just anything. You are Zara Mitchell, the woman who saved my life when you had every reason to walk away. The woman who sacrificed everything to help a stranger. The woman who survived things that would break most people and still found the strength to be kind. His eyes burned into hers. You want to know why I care? His voice dropped to a whisper. Because in 3 months of pretending to be helpless, you were the only real thing in my life. Because when you sang to me in the dark, I felt human again. Because when I watch you exist in the world, despite everything that's tried to destroy you, I feel like maybe I can be more than what my family made me. Tears spilled down her cheeks. That's not fair. What isn't? Making me feel this way. Making me want to trust you. Making me, her voice cracked. I can't lose anyone else. I can't. Then don't. He pressed his forehead to hers. Don't lose me. Don't run. Stay and let me prove that not every man is Marcus. That not everyone will leave. What if you die? The words came out broken. What if your brother kills you and I have to watch and I won't die? His voice was certain. Absolute. I have too much to live for now. She wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to believe him. But before she could respond, the lights went out. All of them. The entire apartment plunged into darkness. And in the silence that followed, she heard it. The sound of glass breaking. Stay down, Jae-sung whispered, his body covering hers as they crouched behind the kitchen island. Footsteps. Multiple. Moving through the apartment with military precision. Minjun appeared in the doorway, night vision goggles reflecting green light. 3 hostiles breached the east wing. For more on the balcony. We're holding position but... Gunfire erupted. Sharp cracks that made Zara's ears ring. Jae-sung moved. One moment he was beside her, the next he'd grabbed a gun from Minjun and was returning fire with a calm that was somehow more terrifying than panic. This was who he really was. Not the wounded man in her storage unit. Not the gentle presence in her kitchen at 3 a.m. This was Kong Jae-sung. Underground king. Mafia boss. Killer. And he was killing to protect her. The firefight lasted 3 minutes. 3 minutes of Zara pressing her hands over her ears and trying not to scream. 3 minutes of watching Jae-sung move like violence was a language he spoke fluently. Then, silence. Clear, Minjun called. The lights flickered back on. 3 bodies on the floor. Blood pooling on marble. Zara couldn't look away. Jae-sung was beside her in an instant, his hands, the same hands that had just killed 3 men, cupping her face with infinite gentleness. Are you hurt? His eyes scanned her frantically. Did they touch you? Zara, look at me, are you hurt? No. Her voice came from far away. I'm fine. You're shaking. He pulled her into his arms, and she realized she was trembling violently. Breathe. Just breathe. You killed them. Statement, not accusation. Yes. You didn't even hesitate. No. His hand stroked her hair. When it comes to you, I'll never hesitate. She should be horrified. Should run. Should recognize this as the violence Marcus had only threatened, made real. But when she pulled back and looked at Jae-sung, really looked at him, she didn't see a monster. She saw a man whose hands were shaking. A man whose eyes were dark with fear, not for himself, but for her. A man who'd positioned himself between her and danger without thinking twice. "Take me somewhere," she whispered. "Anywhere but here." 20 minutes later, they were in his bedroom. Not the guest room. His room. He'd brought her here because it had reinforced walls, a separate security system, and a bathroom where she could wash the gunpowder residue and fear from her skin. Zara stood under the shower spray, his shower, with water pressure that felt like luxury and heat that chased away the cold, and tried to process what had just happened. Men had tried to kill them. Jae-sung had killed them first. She should be traumatized. Should be planning her escape. Instead, all she could think was, "He kept me safe." When she emerged wrapped in his robe because she hadn't thought to bring clothes, he was sitting on the edge of the bed, elbows on his knees, head in his hands. "Jae-sung?" He looked up. His eyes were devastated. "I'm sorry," he said hoarsely. "I should have moved you to a safe house. Should have kept you away from this. You could have died tonight because of me. But I didn't." She crossed to him, stood between his legs. "I'm alive because of you. For now." His hands gripped her hips, not possessively, but like he needed to confirm she was real. "Ji-hoon won't stop. He'll send more men. Better men. And eventually." "Eventually what?" She tilted his chin up, forced him to look at her. "Eventually you'll die protecting me? Eventually I'll die anyway? Eventually we both lose." "Yes. Then I guess we better make the time we have count." She threaded her fingers through his hair. "Because I'm not running. I'm not leaving you. And I'm sure as hell not going to a safe house to wait for news that you're dead. Zara, do you want me?" The question came out raw. Vulnerable. "Not because I'm convenient or because you feel guilty. Do you actually want me?" His eyes darkened. "More than I've wanted anything in my entire life." "Then show me." He stood, lifted her easily, carried her to the bed. Laid her down like she was something precious. "I need you to understand something first," he said, hovering over her. "After tonight, there's no going back. If we do this, if I touch you the way I've been wanting to for months, you're mine. And I protect what's mine with everything I have." "I don't need a protector," she whispered. "I know." He kissed her forehead. "You need a partner. Someone who sees your strength and wants to build something with it, not diminish it. That's what I'm offering. What if I break?" Her voice cracked. "What if I'm too damaged for this? Then we'll be broken together." His hands framed her face. "But Zara, you're not nearly as broken as you think. You're a survivor. A fighter. And you're the strongest person I know." She pulled him down and kissed him. And this time, neither of them pulled away. The next morning, Zara woke in his arms. Sunlight streamed through the windows. The city below looked peaceful. Normal. Like people weren't trying to kill them. "Good morning," Jae-sung murmured against her hair. "Is it?" She turned in his embrace. "Are more men coming?" "Probably." He kissed her shoulder. "But not today. Ji-hoon likes to regroup after a loss. We have at least 48 hours. That's not very long." "No." His eyes found hers. "Which is why I want to show you something. Will you trust me?" He took her to a restaurant. Not one of the upscale places in Gangnam, but a tiny hole in the wall in Insadong with mismatched chairs and an ajumma who shouted at customers in Korean. "This is where my mother used to bring me," Jae-sung said as they sat. "Before she died. Before my father turned the family business into what it is now." The ajumma brought them food without asking what they wanted. Jjigae, kimchi, rice, side dishes that covered every inch of the table. "She thinks I'm too skinny," Jae-sung translated. "Says I've been living like a bachelor too long and need a woman to feed me properly." Zara laughed, the first real laugh since the attack. "I don't think that's my skill set." "Really?" He spooned stew into her bowl. "Because I remember someone sneaking me convenience store ramen for 3 months. That's different." "How?" "That was survival. This is." She gestured at the spread. "This is living." His expression softened. "Yeah, it is." They ate. And between bites, Jae-sung told her stories. About his mother, who'd been a music teacher before she married into the Kong family. About his childhood before the violence, when his biggest worry was piano practice. About the moment everything changed, the day his father died and left him a legacy of blood. I didn't want this life, he said quietly. The organization. The violence. The power. But Ji-hoon would have destroyed everything, turned it into something worse. So I took control. Did what I had to do to protect our people. Our people. The families who depend on us. The businesses we protect. The community that exists because we keep other predators away. He met her eyes. I'm not a good man, Zara. But I try to be better than my father. Better than what people expect. I don't think you're a bad man, she said softly. I think you're a man doing the best he can with impossible choices. You make me want to be better. His hand found hers across the table. You make me think maybe I can be both the man who runs the organization and the man who deserves you. You don't have to earn me, Zara said. I'm not a prize. No. He brought her hand to his lips. You're a partner. If you'll have me. Before she could answer, her phone rang. Unknown number. Atlanta area code. Her blood went cold. Hello. Zara. A voice she hadn't heard in 3 years. A voice that still made her stomach drop. Baby, it's Marcus. We need to talk. Zara hung up. Her hands were shaking. Her breath came in short gasps. Who is that? Jae-sung asked, though something in his expression said he already knew. Marcus. The name tasted like poison. My ex. The one who destroyed you. His voice was flat. Dangerous. What did he want? I don't know. I hung up. She stared at her phone like it was a weapon. How did he even get this number? I changed it when I moved to Korea. Jae-sung pulled out his own phone. Made a call. Spoke rapid Korean. Listened. His expression went dark. He's in Seoul, he said when he hung up. Flew in 2 days ago. My contact at immigration flagged his entry, but I didn't see the alert until now because of the attack. Why would he come here? Zara's voice shook. After 3 years, why would he? I don't know. Jae-sung stood, pulling her to her feet. But we're going to find out. And Zara? Whatever he wants, whatever game he's playing, he's not going to touch you. Do you understand? He doesn't get to hurt you again. I can handle Marcus. But even she didn't believe it. You shouldn't have to. His hands cupped her face. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You've been handling everything alone for so long. Let me help. Let me be what you needed back then, but didn't have. Tears burned her eyes. I don't know how to do that. How to accept help. How to trust that you won't. Won't what? Leave. He pressed his forehead to hers. I'm not going anywhere, Zara. Not voluntarily. The only way I leave is if someone kills me. And even then, I'll haunt you. She laughed despite the tears. That's not funny. It's a little funny. He kissed her softly. I love you. I should have said it sooner. Should have told you in the storage unit or last night or this morning. But I'm saying it now, I love you. Your strength. Your kindness. Your stubbornness. All of it. Jae-sung, her voice broke. You don't have to say it back. His thumbs wiped her tears. Not until you're ready. Not until you believe it. But I needed you to know. I'm scared, she whispered. I'm so scared of losing you. Of losing this. Then don't. He pulled her close. Don't lose me. Don't run. Stay and fight with me. Against my brother. Against your ex. Against whatever comes next. Zara buried her face in his chest and breathed him in cedar and sandalwood and safety. Okay, she whispered against his heart. Okay. What Zara didn't know was that one of the attackers had survived. And in a hospital across Seoul, drugged and delirious, he was telling Ji-hoon everything about the American woman his brother would kill to protect. Marcus Wellington stood in his hotel room in Gangnam and smiled at his phone. 3 years. 3 years of building his consulting business by conning wealthy women out of their money and moving on before they could report him. But Zara was different. Zara had escaped before he could bleed her completely dry. Zara had gotten away. And now, thanks to a friend who'd seen her Instagram post from Seoul, he'd found her. She looked good. Expensive clothes. Luxury location. New man. Which meant new money. Time to finish what he started. Ji-hoon listened to his injured man's report with growing interest. An American woman? Black? Living with him? Yes, sir. He protected her. Killed 3 men without hesitation when they got too close. Ji-hoon smiled. His brother's weakness. Finally. Find her, he ordered. I want her name. Her history. Everything. And someone check international arrivals from the US in the last 6 months. If she matters to Jae-sung, she matters to me. What he didn't know was that Marcus Wellington's name would flag within hours. And that 2 predators were about to circle the same prey. Marcus called again the next day. This time, Jae-sung answered. Who is this? He said in English, his accent slight but present. Silence. Then, is this Zara's phone? Yes. Who is calling? Where is she? Let me talk to her. Jae-sung's eyes found Zara across the room. She shook her head frantically. She doesn't want to speak to you, he said calmly. Lose this number. Listen, I don't know who you are, but Zara and I have history. Personal history. So unless you want problems. Problems? Jae-sung's voice dropped to Arctic cold. You're Marcus Wellington. Age 31. Born in Philadelphia, currently living in Atlanta. You've conned 6 women in the last 3 years out of a combined $400,000. You also stole $127,000 from Zara Mitchell 3 years ago and left her homeless and pregnant. Dead silence. How did you? She lost her baby because of you. Did you know that? She was living in her car, working double shifts, starving herself to save money for prenatal care. And she miscarried alone in a charity ward because you took everything and left her with nothing. Zara's breath caught. She hadn't told him about the miscarriage. About Amara. How did he? I know everything about you, Marcus, Jae-sung continued. I know about the warrants in Philadelphia. The restraining orders. The women who are still looking for you. And I know you're in Seoul because you think you can squeeze more money out of Zara. I just want to talk to her. No. The word was absolute. You don't get to talk to her. You don't get to see her. You don't get to exist in her world anymore. Do you understand? Who the fuck are you? I'm the man who loves her. Jae-sung's eyes held Zara's across the room. I'm the man who would burn your entire life to ashes if you so much as look at her wrong. I'm the man with the resources to make you disappear so completely, not even forensics could find you. You're threatening me? I'm promising you. Stay away from Zara. Leave Seoul. And pray I decide you're not worth the bullet. He hung up. Zara stared at him. You investigated him? The moment you told me his name. Jae-sung set down the phone. I needed to know what we were dealing with. We? This is my problem. Your problems are my problems. He crossed to her. That's what partnership means. And Zara? Men like Marcus don't stop unless they're stopped. He came here for money. He saw you with me and assumed I'm your sugar daddy or some shit. He's going to try to blackmail you or con me or... He can't blackmail me. I have nothing to hide. Everyone has something to hide. His expression was grim. Your visa is expired. You've been working illegally. You were living in a storage unit. Any of that gets reported to immigration, you get deported. Ice flooded her veins. He wouldn't. He absolutely would. The moment you refuse to give him money, he'll threaten to report you. That's how men like him operate. Jae-sung took her hands. But I have a solution. What? Marry me. Zara's heart stopped. What? Marry me. Today. Right now. His eyes were intense, serious. As my wife, you'll have legal status. You'll be protected under my family's influence. Marcus can't touch you. Immigration can't touch you. You'll be safe. That's insane. She pulled away. We've known each other for 3 months. We've been together for 2 days. You can't just. I can. And I want to. He caught her hand, pressed it to his chest. I know it's fast. I know it's not romantic. But Zara, I meant what I said. I love you. I want to spend my life with you. And if marrying you now means keeping you safe from Marcus and my brother and every other threat, I'll do it without hesitation. You're not thinking clearly. I've never been more clear. His voice softened. I'm not asking you to love me back yet. I'm not even asking for a real marriage if you don't want it. I'm asking you to let me protect you legally. Permanently. The feelings, we'll figure those out as we go. Zara's eyes burned with tears. This is crazy. Yes. It's too fast. Yes. I'm probably going to break your heart. I'll risk it. He pulled her close. Zara, you saved my life when I was bleeding out in an alley. Let me return the favor. Let me save yours. She wanted to say no. Wanted to be strong enough to handle this herself. Wanted to prove she didn't need rescuing. But the truth was, she was tired. Tired of fighting alone. Tired of survival mode. Tired of being afraid. And when she looked at Jae-sung, really looked at him, she didn't see pity or obligation. She saw a man offering partnership. Offering safety. Offering a chance to stop running. Okay, she whispered. Let's do it. His expression transformed. Relief. Joy. Something that looked like love. You mean it? I mean it. She cupped his face. But Jae-sung? I'm terrified. And if this goes wrong, it won't. He kissed her softly. I won't let it. 3 hours later, they were married. A small ceremony in a private office. No guests except Minjun as witness. A judge who owed Jae-sung a favor and didn't ask questions about the rushed timeline. Zara wore a simple white dress they'd bought that morning. Jae-sung wore a suit that probably cost more than a car. Their rings were platinum bands engraved with each other's names in English and Korean. When the judge pronounced them married, Jae-sung kissed her like she was oxygen and he'd been drowning. Mrs. Kong, he murmured against her lips. That's going to take some getting used to, she admitted. Take all the time you need. He pressed his forehead to hers. We have the rest of our lives. But in a hotel across the city, Marcus Wellington was making a phone call. Yeah, I need information on a guy. Korean. Early 30s. Goes by Kong Jae-sung. Lives in a penthouse in Gangnam. I need to know who he is and how much he's worth. And on the other end of the line, Ji-hoon's associate smiled. Because Marcus Wellington had just made a very, very stupid mistake. He'd drawn the attention of both Kong brothers. And neither of them were known for their mercy. The text arrived 3 days later. Unknown number. Meet me at Lotte World Mall. Food court. 2 p.m. Come alone or I go to immigration with everything I know about your illegal status. Zara stared at her phone, ice flooding her veins. He doesn't know, Jae-sung said from behind her, reading over her shoulder. About the marriage. About your legal status now. He's bluffing with an empty hand. Then why does it feel like he's winning? She set down the phone with shaking hands. Because he conditioned you to fear him. Jae-sung turned her to face him. 3 years ago, he had all the power. He could take everything and you had no recourse. But Zara? You're not that woman anymore. You're Mrs. Kong now. You have resources. Protection. Me. I should go alone. Absolutely not. His voice left no room for argument. You go, I go. Minjun and his team will be positioned throughout the mall. Marcus won't even sneeze without us knowing. He said come alone. And I say fuck what he wants. Jae-sung cupped her face. You're my wife. You think I'm letting you within a mile of that parasite without backup? Not happening. Despite everything, Zara felt a smile tug at her lips. You're kind of bossy when you're worried. I'm terrified, he corrected. There's a difference. He kissed her forehead. But we'll face him together. Show him exactly who you are now. Show him what he lost. At 1:45 p.m., they arrived at Lotte World Mall. Zara had dressed carefully. Not the simple clothes from the storage unit days, but the elegant black dress Jae-sung had bought her. Diamond studs, his wedding gift, in her ears. Her hair styled, her makeup flawless. She looked expensive, confident, powerful. She looked nothing like the broken woman Marcus had left behind. He's at a table near the back, Minjun said through the earpiece Jae-sung had insisted she wear. 2 men with him. Not professionals, probably friends he recruited for intimidation. I'll be 20 feet away the entire time, Jae-sung reminded her. The moment he threatens you, the moment he touches you, I'm there. Okay. Zara nodded. Her heart hammered against her ribs. Hey. Jae-sung caught her hand, pulled her close. You survived losing everything once. You rebuilt yourself from nothing. You crossed an ocean and started over alone. You saved my life when you had every reason to save yourself instead. You are the strongest person I know. And he, his eyes hardened, is a coward who preys on women because he's too weak to make it on his own. I'm scared, she admitted. Good. Fear makes you sharp. He kissed her softly. Go show him what he threw away. I'll be right behind you. Marcus looked different. Older. Harder around the edges. His Morehouse shirt replaced by designer labels that screamed, trying too hard. Gold chains at his neck. A watch that was probably fake but wanted to look real. He stood when he saw her. His eyes raked over her, the dress, the jewelry, the confidence in her walk, and something flickered across his face. Surprise. Jealousy. Calculation. Zara. He said her name like they were old friends. Like he hadn't destroyed her life. You look good. Really good. She didn't sit. Just stood across from him, arms crossed. What do you want, Marcus? Damn, no, hello? No, how have you been? He laughed, but it sounded forced. I flew all the way to Seoul to see you. I didn't ask you to. What? Do you want? His smile faded. The mask slipped. I want what you owe me. I don't owe you shit. The words came out cold, clear. You stole from me. You left me homeless and pregnant. You. Pregnant. He laughed sharply. Come on, Zara. You can't still be playing that card. If you are really pregnant, where's the kid? The words hit like a physical blow. Where's the kid? Like Amara was a prop. A lie. A manipulation tactic instead of a tiny girl who died alone in a hospital with only Zara to mourn her. She died, Zara said quietly. I miscarried at 8 months because I was living in my car and working 2 jobs and starving because you took everything. Her name was Amara. And she died because of you. For just a moment, one brief, flickering moment, something like guilt crossed Marcus's face. Then it hardened again. That's not my fault. You should have been more careful. You're right, Zara said. And she meant it. I should have been more careful. I should have seen you for what you were years earlier. I should have protected myself instead of protecting you. But I learned. And I'll never make that mistake again. Marcus leaned forward. That's great. Real inspiring. But here's the thing, Zara, you're here illegally. Working under the table. Living with some rich Korean dude who probably doesn't know half the shit about your past. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to pay me $50,000 to keep your secrets. Or I make one call to immigration and you're deported by the end of the week. No. He blinked. What? I said no. Zara's voice didn't shake. You don't get to blackmail me. You don't get to threaten me. You don't get anything from me ever again. You think your boyfriend is going to protect you? Marcus sneered. Once he finds out you're a charity case with baggage, he'll dump you just like husband. Marcus stopped. What? Not boyfriend. Husband. Zara held up her left hand, let the platinum band catch the light. I'm married. Which means my visa status is legal. Which means your threats are worthless. The color drained from Marcus's face. You're lying. I'm not. And Marcus. She leaned forward. My husband knows everything. About you. About what you did. About the other women you've conned. About the warrants in Philadelphia. Everything. Who? His eyes darted around the food court. Who is he? Someone you really, really shouldn't have fucked with. That's when Jae-sung walked up. He didn't rush. Didn't storm over like some action movie hero. Just walked with the kind of casual confidence that came from knowing he was the most dangerous person in any room he entered. 6 of his men followed. All in black. All clearly armed despite the public setting. Security guards started to approach, saw Minjun flash something, a badge, credentials, something that made them back away immediately, and suddenly the area around their table was empty. Everyone else had melted away. Just Zara, Marcus, and the 2 friends he'd brought, who now looked like they very much regretted their life choices. Jae-sung stopped behind Zara's chair. His hand came to rest on her shoulder. Gentle. Possessive. Protective. Marcus Wellington, he said in perfect English. We spoke on the phone. Marcus stared. His mouth opened. Closed. You're the guy. I'm the guy. Jae-sung's smile was cold enough to cause frostbite. Kong Jae-sung, Zara's husband. And the man who's been waiting for you to make exactly the mistake you just made. What mistake? But Marcus's voice shook. Threatening my wife. Jae-sung pulled out his phone. Made a call. Spoke rapid Korean. Marcus's phone buzzed. Once. Twice. 10 times in rapid succession. Check your notifications, Jae-sung suggested. With shaking hands, Marcus pulled out his phone. Zara watched the blood drain from his face as he scrolled. What is this? That, Jae-sung said calmly, is your bank account being frozen. Your credit cards being canceled. Your apartment in Atlanta being seized for unpaid debts that mysteriously just came due. Your car being repossessed. And alerts from 6 different women's attorneys filing civil suits against you for fraud. Marcus looked up, his face gray. You can't, this isn't legal. Legal is a flexible concept when you have the right connections. Jae-sung's hand tightened slightly on Zara's shoulder. You took $127,000 from my wife 3 years ago. You left her homeless. You caused her to lose her daughter. And you thought you could come here and extort her? Threaten her. I didn't know, I wouldn't have, Marcus was stammering now. You wouldn't have what? Tried to con her if you'd known she had protection. Jae-sung leaned forward. That's the problem with men like you. You only respect power. You only show mercy when you're afraid. You prey on women you perceive as weak because you're too pathetic to face anyone who can fight back. Please, I'm sorry, I'll leave, I'll go back to Atlanta. You will. Jae-sung straightened. But not yet. First, you're going to do something for me. Minjun, Jae-sung said. Minjun stepped forward with a laptop. Set it on the table. Turned it to face Marcus. On the screen, a legal document. This is a confession, Jae-sung explained. Detailing every woman you've conned in the last 5 years. Every dollar you've stolen. Every lie you've told. You're going to sign it. You're going to have it notarized. And you're going to personally deliver it to the authorities when you return to the United States. And if I don't? Marcus's voice was barely a whisper. Then I make one phone call and you disappear. Jae-sung's voice was pleasant. Conversational. Which somehow made it more terrifying. Not killed, I'm not a monster. But disappeared. Arrested on fabricated charges in a country where you don't speak the language. Held in a cell while your case gets processed 4 months. Maybe years. Do you know what Korean prisons are like, Marcus? Marcus was shaking now. This is insane. No. Insane was thinking you could threaten my wife and walk away. Jae-sung's mask slipped. Just for a moment. Just enough for Marcus to see the fury beneath. Insane was flying to Seoul to blackmail a woman you already destroyed once. Insane was underestimating exactly how far I would go to protect her. I'll sign it, Marcus said quickly. Whatever you want. I'll sign it. Good. Jae-sung nodded to Minjun, who produced a pen. There's more. What more? Marcus sounded broken. The money. $127,000 plus interest. That's $168,000 total. You're going to pay it back. I don't have that kind of money. I know. Which is why you're going to work for it. Jae-sung's smile was sharp. You're going to get a real job. You're going to make payments every month. Every single month for the next 10 years. And if you miss even one payment, if you try to run, try to hide, try to pull this shit on anyone else, I'll know. And I'll come for you. How will you? Because I'll be watching. Jae-sung leaned down until they were eye level. Every job application. Every address change. Every woman you so much as look at. You're going to spend the next decade of your life knowing that one wrong move means I show up at your door. Do you understand? Marcus nodded frantically. Yes. Yes, I understand. Say it. I understand. I'll pay her back. I'll sign the confession. I won't bother her again, I swear. You won't bother anyone again, Jae-sung corrected. Because you're going to therapy. Court ordered. You're going to figure out why you hurt people. And you're going to become better. Not for me. Not even for Zara. But because you owe it to every person you've damaged. Tears were running down Marcus's face now. I'm sorry. Zara, I'm sorry, I was young and stupid and I... Stop. Zara's voice cut through his rambling. Don't apologize to me. Apologize to the other women. Apologize to yourself for wasting your life being a predator. But don't apologize to me. Because I don't forgive you. And I never will. Marcus stared at her. But I survived you, Zara said quietly. I rebuilt myself. I found love with a man who values me. I have a life now. A real life. And you? You're just a mistake I learned from. You don't get my forgiveness. You don't get closure. You just get to live with what you did. For the rest of your life. She stood. Looked down at him, this man who'd once held all the power, now reduced to tears and begging. She felt nothing. No satisfaction. No anger. No pain. Just freedom. Goodbye, Marcus, she said. I hope you become someone better. But I'll never know. Because you'll never be part of my life again. She turned and walked away. Jae-sung followed, his hand finding hers. Behind them, Minjun supervised as Marcus signed the documents with shaking hands. They made it to the parking garage before Zara broke. Not crying. Just shaking. Her whole body trembling like she'd been holding herself together by force of will, and now the will was gone. Jae-sung pulled her into his arms immediately. I know, he murmured against her hair. I know. Let it out. I thought I'd feel better, she whispered. I thought seeing him destroyed would make me feel something. But I just feel empty. That's healing, Jae-sung said quietly. Empty is better than full of pain. Empty means there's room for something new. What if I can't fill it? Her hands fisted in his shirt. What if I'm just broken? Forever broken. Then we'll be broken together. He pulled back, cupped her face. But Zara? You're not broken. You're a survivor. There's a difference. I lost my daughter. The words came out raw, torn from somewhere deep. I lost Amara and it was my fault. No. His voice was fierce. No. It was his fault. Marcus's fault. The systems that failed you. The world that didn't protect you. But never, ever your fault. You did everything you could. You loved her. You tried to save her. That's all anyone can do. She would have been 2 years old now, Zara whispered. She'd be talking. Walking. I think about her every day. Then we'll honor her. Jae-sung's thumbs wiped away her tears. We'll make sure her life, however brief, mattered. Your foundation. We'll name it after her. The Amara Foundation. For women who need the support you didn't have. Zara's breath caught. You'd do that. I'd do anything for you. His eyes held hers. Anything. Always. She kissed him. Desperate and grateful and full of emotions she didn't have words for. When they broke apart, she whispered, I love you. Jae-sung went still. Say it again. I love you. Stronger this time. More certain. I love you and I'm terrified and I don't know how this ends, but I love you. It ends with us, he said fiercely. Together. Building something better. Being something better. That's how it ends. Promise? I promise. But across the parking garage, in a black sedan, someone was watching. Taking photos. Recording video. Documenting everything. And when the footage was uploaded to a secure server, Ji-hoon smiled. His brother's weakness. Confirmed. Documented. Exploitable. Zara Mitchell, now Zara Kong, was about to become the most valuable piece on the chessboard. And Ji-hoon had always been good at chess. They drove back to the apartment in silence. Zara's hand in Jae-sung's. His thumb tracing patterns on her skin. The city lights blurring past. For the first time in 3 years, Zara felt like she could breathe. Marcus was handled. The past was confronted. The future was possible. What are you thinking? Jae-sung asked softly. That I'm happy. She looked at him. Actually happy. Is that allowed? It's required. He brought her hand to his lips. You've earned it. What about your brother? The threat? We'll handle it. His voice was certain. Together. Whatever comes, we face it together. Zara believed him. Which is why, when they walked into the apartment and found Minjun's face gray with fear, her blood ran cold. Sir, Minjun said. We have a problem. What kind of problem? Minjun pulled up security footage on his tablet. Ji-hoon took Marcus. The screen showed Marcus being dragged from the mall by unfamiliar men. Thrown into a van. Driven away. Why would Zara started? Then she understood. Jihoon had Marcus, which meant Jihoon could get information about her, about Jae-sung's feelings, about the marriage, which meant Jihoon knew exactly where to strike. How long ago? Jae-sung's voice was deadly calm. 30 minutes. Sir, they're going to torture him for information. Let them. Jae-sung's eyes were black with fury. Marcus means nothing. But Zara, he turned to her. Zara, I need you to go to the safe house. Right now. Tonight. No. She grabbed his arm. I'm not leaving you. This isn't a discussion. His voice broke. Jihoon knows about you now. Knows you're my wife. Knows I love you. That makes you a target. The biggest target. And I can't. His hands framed her face. I can't lose you. I won't survive it. Then don't lose me. She held his gaze. We fight together. You promised. Zara. You promised. He stared at her. The war between protecting her and respecting her choice playing out across his face. Finally, together. But you follow my lead. You stay close. And if I tell you to run, I won't. If I tell you to run, he repeated firmly, you run. You save yourself. Promise me. She wanted to argue. Wanted to refuse. But the terror in his eyes, the genuine fear of losing her, made her throat close. I promise, she whispered. Okay. He pulled her close. Held her like he might never get another chance. Okay. Then let's go end this. The safe house wasn't safe. They discovered this exactly 47 minutes after arriving, when Minjun found the tracker hidden in Zara's coat, the coat she'd been wearing at the mall. Jihoon had been tracking them the entire time. He knows we're here, Minjun said, his face pale. Sir, we need to move. Now. But Jae-sung was staring at his phone. At a message that had just arrived. Unknown number, Jae-sung. Little brother. Did you really think I wouldn't find her? Meet me at the warehouse in Mapogu. The one where father used to conduct business. Come alone, or I start sending pieces of your wife back to you. You have 1 hour. Jihoon. Attached, a photo. Not of Marcus, though he was there, tied to a chair, bloodied and barely conscious. But of Zara's storage unit. Unit 237. Empty now, but photographed recently. The sleeping bag she'd used. The corner where Jae-sung had pretended to be helpless. The message was clear. I know everything. I know where this started. And I can destroy it all. He's bluffing, Minjun said immediately. He doesn't have her. We're standing right here. He will have her. Jae-sung's voice was hollow. If I don't go, he'll send every man he has. And some of them will get through. They always do. Then we fight, Minjun started. No. Jae-sung looked at Zara. Really looked at her. This ends tonight. One way or another. But Zara, his voice cracked. You can't come with me. Like hell I can't. She grabbed his arm. You're not going alone. He'll kill you to hurt me. You understand that? He won't even hesitate. Jae-sung's hands shook as they cupped her face. I can handle torture. Pain. Death. But I can't handle watching him hurt you. I can't. So what's your plan? Zara's voice was steady even though her heart was breaking. Go there alone? Let him kill you? How does that protect me? Because if I'm dead, you're useless to him. The logic was brutal. Clear. He only wants you to control me. Without me, you're free. He'll have no reason to hurt you. No. Tears spilled down her cheeks. No. I didn't survive everything I survived to watch you die for me. I won't do it. You won't have a choice. He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. Minjun will take you to the airport. There's a private plane fueled and ready. You'll fly to the States. My lawyers will have paperwork waiting, accounts in your name, property, everything you need. You'll be safe. Rich. Free. I don't want safe. Her voice broke. I don't want rich. I want you. And I want you alive. His thumb traced her jawline one last time. More than I want anything. Even if that means you hate me for this. For what? He looked at Minjun, nodded. Minjun moved. Fast. Professional. Grabbed Zara and pulled her back even as she screamed. No. Jae-sung, I know. I love you, Jae-sung said, and his voice was wrecked. Destroyed. I love you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Then he walked out the door. And Zara, held back by Minjun's iron grip, could only scream after him. Minjun had underestimated her. They all had. Because Zara Mitchell, Zara Kong, wasn't the same woman who'd lived in a storage unit 4 months ago. That woman had been afraid. Passive. Willing to accept whatever life threw at her. This woman had learned to fight. She waited until Minjun's attention was on his phone coordinating the extraction, the flight, the escape route. Then she grabbed the gun from his holster. She didn't point it at him. Just held it. Steady hands despite the fear coursing through her. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "But I can't let him die for me. Not after everything." "Mrs. Kong," Minjun's voice was pleading. "Please. He gave me direct orders. I'm giving you different orders." She backed toward the door. "Your loyalty is to the Kong family, right? Well, I'm family now. And I'm telling you, we're going to that warehouse. All of us. And we're going to save him. There are 20 men guarding that location. Then we'll need more men." Zara's mind was racing. "You have contacts. People loyal to Jae-sung instead of Ji-hoon. Call them. All of them. Tell them their real boss needs them." Minjun stared at her. Something shifted in his expression. Respect, maybe. Or recognition. "You know he'll kill me for this," Minjun said. "Only if we fail." Zara lowered the gun. "Please. Help me save him. He saved both of us, you from whatever life you had before, me from mine. We owe him this." Silence stretched between them. Then Minjun pulled out his phone. "This is insane," he muttered. But he was already dialing. Completely insane. "I know." Zara felt something like hope flicker in her chest. But it might just work. 23 minutes later, they had 30 men. 30 men loyal to Jae-sung. Loyal to the man who'd treated them like human beings instead of disposable soldiers. Loyal to the leader who'd chosen mercy over cruelty whenever possible. Men who'd heard Ji-hoon's plans for the organization, plans that involved expanding into trafficking, drugs, things Jae-sung had explicitly forbidden. Men who'd been waiting for an excuse to choose sides. "We go in quiet," Minjun instructed. "Snipers on the roof. Teams at every entrance. We extract the boss and anyone else," he glanced at Zara. "And we get out. Clean. Professional. No unnecessary casualties." "What about Ji-hoon?" one of the men asked. Minjun looked at Zara. The question in his eyes, "What do you want?" And Zara, who'd been a victim, a survivor, a woman who'd lost everything and rebuilt herself from ashes, made a choice. "We capture him alive," she said. "Let the law handle him. Let him face consequences the right way." Jae-sung wouldn't want more blood on his hands. "The law can be bought," someone protested. "Not if it's public." Zara's voice was firm. "Not if there's evidence. Witnesses. Media attention. We do this the right way. We be better than him." The men looked at each other. Then at Minjun. Minjun smiled. "You heard Mrs. Kong. Let's go save the boss." They were too late. That was Zara's first thought when they breached the warehouse. Because Jae-sung was on his knees in the center of the space, blood streaming from a cut above his eye, his hands zip-tied behind his back. And Ji-hoon, older than Jae-sung, harder, with their father's cruel eyes, had a gun pressed to his brother's head. "I knew you'd come," Ji-hoon said. Not to Jae-sung. To Zara, who'd just entered with Minjun's team. The entire warehouse went still. "Let him go," Zara said. Her voice didn't shake. "This is between you two. Leave him alive and you can have the organization. The power. Everything you want." Ji-hoon laughed. "You think I want the organization? I want him gone. I want to be the only son. The only heir. The only Kong who matters." "Then kill me," Jae-sung said quietly. His eyes found Zara's. The look in them, "Why did you come? You were supposed to be safe." Broke her heart. "But let her go. She's nothing to you. She's everything to you." Ji-hoon pressed the gun harder against Jae-sung's skull. "Which makes her everything to me. I'm going to make you watch while I destroy her. Then I'll kill you. Then I'll dump both your bodies in the Han River like the garbage you." The shot rang out before he could finish. Ji-hoon dropped. Not dead, Minjun was too good a shot for that, but wounded. His gun clattering away. His leg bleeding. Chaos erupted. Ji-hoon's men tried to return fire, but they were outnumbered, outgunned, and facing soldiers who'd been waiting for this moment. The fight lasted 90 seconds. Then silence. Bodies on the ground, some dead, most just incapacitated. Ji-hoon, screaming in pain and rage. And Jae-sung, still on his knees, staring at Zara like she was a ghost. She ran to him, cut his zip ties with a knife Minjun handed her, touched his face, his beautiful, bloodied face, with shaking hands. "You were supposed to leave," he whispered. "I'm not good at following orders." She kissed him desperately. "Are you okay? Are you?" "I'm fine. I'm fine." He pulled back, his eyes scanning her frantically. "You shouldn't be here. If something had happened to you." But it didn't. She pressed her forehead to his. "We won. Together. Like we promised." Minjun approached Ji-hoon, who was still bleeding on the concrete. "It's over," Minjun said. "Your men are captured or dead. The organization stands with Jae-sung." And in about, he checked his watch. 3 minutes, the police are going to arrive with warrants for your arrest on about 40 different charges. "You called the police?" Ji-hoon snarled. "We don't involve the..." Mrs. Kong insisted on doing things the legal way. Minjun smiled. "Personally, I think it's fitting. You're going to spend the rest of your life in prison. Not dead. Not a martyr. Just forgotten. Exactly what you feared most." Ji-hoon's face twisted with rage. "This isn't over." "Yes," Jae-sung said, standing up with Zara's support. "It is." He walked over to his brother, looked down at him. "I didn't want this," Jae-sung said quietly. "I didn't want to fight you. I didn't want the organization. I didn't want father's legacy. But you forced my hand. And now you'll spend the rest of your life knowing that you lost. To me. To a woman you thought was weak. To the very people you thought you could control. I'm your brother. You stopped being my brother the day you tried to kill me." Jae-sung's voice was flat. "Final. Goodbye, Ji-hoon." He turned away, took Zara's hand, walked toward the exit. Behind them, sirens wailed. Marcus, still tied to his chair, called out, "What about me?" "You're just going to leave me. The police will find you," Zara said without turning around. "Tell them everything about Ji-hoon. Cooperate fully. Maybe you'll get a reduced sentence for the confession you signed. But goodbye, Marcus." And this time, she meant it. Forever. The Amara Foundation opened on a sunny Tuesday in September. The building in Itaewon was beautiful, modern, welcoming, with large windows that let in light. 20 residential units for women in crisis. Job training facilities. Therapy offices. Child care center. Legal aid. Everything Zara had needed 3 years ago and didn't have. She stood at the podium during the opening ceremony, her hands shaking slightly despite the confidence she'd built over the last year, and looked out at the crowd. Korean press. International media. Government officials. Women who'd already been helped by the foundation's preliminary programs. And Jae-sung, standing in the front row, looking at her like she'd hung the moon. 3 years ago, Zara began. I lost everything. My home. My savings. My daughter. I slept in my car. I worked illegal jobs. I came to a foreign country with nothing but hope and desperation. And I survived. She paused, gathering her thoughts. But survival isn't living. And for a long time, I didn't know the difference. Until someone showed me what it meant to be seen. To be valued. To be worth protecting, not because I was useful, but because I was human. Her eyes found Jae-sung's. This foundation exists because of that lesson. It exists because every woman deserves to be seen. To be valued. To know that her worst day isn't her last day. That rock bottom is a foundation, not a grave. Tears pricked her eyes. My daughter's name was Amara. It means grace. She lived for only a few hours, but her life mattered. And this foundation, her voice cracked. This foundation is my way of making sure her brief existence changed the world. That she saved women she never got to meet. That her legacy is hope. Applause thundered through the space. Zara stepped down from the podium, and Jae-sung was there immediately, pulling her into his arms. You were perfect, he murmured against her hair. She would be so proud. I hope so. Zara pulled back, wiping her eyes. I really hope so. That night, they stood on the balcony of their penthouse, Not the same one from before, but a new one, in a building with better security and fewer memories of violence. Do you ever regret it? Zara asked. Choosing me over the easy path? Every day, Jae-sung said seriously. She turned, stung, and saw him smiling. I regret that I didn't find you sooner, he continued. That you had to suffer before we met. That I wasted 6 months bleeding in an alley instead of looking for you actively. But choosing you? Loving you? Never. Not for a single second. Smooth talker. But she was smiling. I learned from the best. He pulled her close. You know what tomorrow is? Wednesday. 1 year since we got married. His hands rested on her hips. 1 year since you agreed to bind yourself to a criminal with more enemies than friends. Reformed criminal, she corrected. You've gone almost entirely legitimate. Almost. His smile was wry. Some things take time. But I'm trying. For you. For us. For the life we're building. I know. She kissed him softly. And I love you for it. Just for that. He raised an eyebrow. Not my devastating good looks? My charming personality. Those help. She laughed. But mostly it's the way you let me be strong. The way you don't try to fix me or save me. The way you just stand beside me and let me save myself. You saved me first, he reminded her. In a storage unit. When I was bleeding and broken. You saved me without knowing who I was or what I could offer you. You saved me because that's who you are. We saved each other, Zara said. That's the truth. He pulled her closer, and they stood there, watching the city lights, feeling the autumn breeze, existing in a moment of perfect peace. I have something for you, Jae-sung said after a while. You already gave me a foundation. This is different. He pulled out an envelope. Open it. Inside, paperwork. Legal documents. And adoption papers? Zara's voice shook. You want to? I want to build a family with you. His eyes were soft. Vulnerable. If you're ready. If you want that. No pressure. No timeline. Just know that when you are ready, I am too. Tears streamed down Zara's face. I don't know if I can. After Amara. I know. He wiped her tears. And if you're never ready, that's okay too. You're enough. Just you. Always. What if I am ready? The question came out small. Scared. What if I want to try? Then we try. Together. And whatever happens, we handle it. Together. She kissed him. Poured everything she felt into it. Gratitude, love, hope, fear, all of it. Okay, she whispered against his lips. Let's build a family. Yeah. 6 months later, on a cold March evening, Zara found herself back in the neighborhood where it all began. Not the storage facility that had been torn down, replaced by luxury apartments in Seoul's endless expansion, but the alley behind Han's Korean grocery. The place where she'd found Jae-sung bleeding and dying. The place where everything changed. She stood there now, her hand in her husband's, and marveled at the distance they'd traveled. Why did you want to come here? Jae-sung asked softly. Because I needed to remember, Zara said. Remember where we started. How far we've come. What we survived. A young woman walked past, early 20s, worn clothes, exhaustion in her eyes. She glanced at the grocery store, checking prices in the window, counting change in her palm. Zara saw herself in that woman. Saw her past reflected back. Excuse me, Zara called out in Korean. The woman turned, wary. Zara pulled out a business card. Do you need help? Food? A place to stay? I run a foundation. I'm fine, the woman said quickly. The same lie Zara had told 100 times. I know. Zara pressed the card into her hand anyway. But if you're ever not fine, call this number. We have resources. No judgment. No strings. Just help. The woman stared at the card. At Zara. Something in her expression cracked. Is this real? It's real. Zara squeezed her hand. I was you once. Sleeping in my car. Working illegal jobs. Pretending everything was okay when it wasn't. But someone helped me. And now I help others. That's how it works. We save each other. The woman's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. You're going to be okay, Zara said. And this time, she believed it. I promise. They walked back to the car in silence. "You're amazing," Jae-sung said finally. "You know that? I learned from experience." She leaned into him. "From someone who saved me when he was pretending to be helpless." "I was helpless." His arms circled her waist. "Just not physically. Emotionally. Spiritually. I was dying in every way that mattered. And you brought me back to life. We brought each other back." She stopped, turned to face him. "That's the story, isn't it? Two broken people who found each other in the dark and decided to build something better." "That's the story," he agreed. "And it's far from over." His hand moved to her stomach. Rested there gently. "Are you sure?" His voice was cautious. Hopeful. "I'm sure." Zara covered his hand with hers. 14 weeks. "I wanted to wait until we were past the first trimester to tell you." Jae-sung's eyes shone with unshed tears. "A baby? A baby." She smiled through her own tears. "I'm terrified. But I want this. With you. I want to try again. To honor Amara by living. By creating new life. By refusing to let fear win." He pulled her close, buried his face in her hair. "I love you," he whispered. "I love you so much. I love you too." She held him tight. Always. Around them, the city moved on. People living their lives. Building their stories. Surviving their own struggles. And Zara, who'd once had nothing, who'd lost everything, who'd rebuilt herself from ashes, felt grateful. Grateful for the pain that taught her strength. Grateful for the loss that taught her appreciation. Grateful for the man who'd shown her that love wasn't about being saved. It was about being seen. And in Jae-sung's arms, with their future growing inside her, Zara finally understood what home felt like. Not a place. Not a person. But a choice. The choice to keep fighting. Keep loving. Keep building. The choice to transform pain into purpose. The choice to survive and then, finally, beautifully, to live. Ji-hoon was sentenced to 25 years in prison for attempted murder, kidnapping, and racketeering. Marcus Wellington served 18 months for fraud and is currently working in construction, making monthly restitution payments to his victims. The Amara Foundation has helped over 300 women in its first year of operation and is expanding to 3 additional Korean cities. Kang Jae-sung successfully transitioned the family business to legitimate enterprises, maintaining his role as a powerful but law-abiding businessman. And Zara? Zara kept her promise. She lived. A hospital room. Late at night. The soft beep of monitors. Zara, exhausted but glowing, held a tiny infant swaddled in pink. Jae-sung sat beside the bed, his hand stroking their daughter's perfect, tiny fingers. "Have you decided on a name?" the nurse asked. Zara looked at Jae-sung. He nodded. "Grace," Zara said softly. "Her name is Grace Amara Kang." "It's perfect," the nurse smiled. "She's perfect." After the nurse left, Jae-sung leaned down and kissed his wife's forehead. "We did it," he whispered. "We made it through." "We did," Zara agreed. She looked down at their daughter, alive, healthy, breathing, and felt a weight she'd carried for 3 years finally lift. "We really did." Through the hospital window, Seoul sparkled in the darkness. A city of millions. A city of struggles and triumphs and endless stories. And in this room, a new story was beginning. One of hope. One of healing. One of a family built from broken pieces that became something beautiful. Zara kissed her daughter's forehead and whispered, "Welcome to the world, baby girl. You're so loved. So wanted. So worth every moment it took to get here." And in that moment, everything, all the pain, all the loss, all the struggle, made sense. Because Grace was here. And love had won. If you made it to the end of Zara and Jae-sung's journey, thank you so much for watching. This story was about more than revenge. It was about healing, hope, and the power of love to transform our darkest moments into our greatest strengths. Please don't forget to like this video if Zara's transformation touched your heart. Subscribe to Revenge Cafe for more Afro-Korean romance stories that celebrate strong women and the men who value them. Comment below and tell me, what was your favorite moment? The confrontation with Marcus? The wedding? The foundation opening? Should I do a part 2 following their life as parents? What story should I tell next? Forbidden office romance? Secret baby drama? Bodyguard romance? To everyone who's ever felt broken, who's ever had to rebuild from nothing, who's ever wondered if they'd survive their darkest chapter, you are stronger than you know. Your story isn't over. And you are always, always worth protecting. Until next time, keep believing in second chances, the power of love to heal all wounds, and that your ending can be different from your beginning. See you in the next story. Heartsuit.